Uh, Namaskar, everybody. This is Dr. Sunil Dutt, working as an assistant professor of physics at the Department of Science and Technology of Faculty of Education and Methodology in Jayati Vidyapith Women's University, Jaipur. Uh, the topic for my presentation is basically the electric potential, and if the time allows, we will also go through the Laplace's equation and the Poisson's equation. Okay, so prior to this, we have discussed the Coulomb's law and Gauss's theorem. This video is a part of elementary physics syllabus of BTech second semester. So, uh, electric potential, let us first discuss about it. So, the electric potential at a point is defined as the amount of work done by an external force in bringing a unit positive test charge from infinity to that point. Okay. So, we know that how to calculate the work done. We also have the formula for the force exerted by one charge on another charge, which we can determine by using Coulomb's law. So the electric potential, as given by the definition, it is the amount of work done in bringing a point charge from infinite uh, point test charge, positive test charge from infinite to a point P in presence of some another charge, which is called as Q. Okay. So if we write this in mathematical form, we can write the potential V will be equal to W upon Q naught, where W is the amount of work done and Q naught is the test charge. So SI unit of electric potential will be joule per coulomb, or you can say volt. And the dimensional formula will be ml to the power minus 2 to the power minus 3 a to the power minus 1, and electric potential is a scalar quantity. So from the above formula, we can give the definition of 1 volt. So the potential at a point is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in bringing a unit positive test charge from infinity to that point. So, so in this way, we can define 1 volt from the definition of electric potential. But if you want to derive the expression for the potential due to a point charge, then we consider 2 points A and B, which are at a distance r from each other, and the point charge capital Q is placed at point A, and we have to bring a positive test charge Q naught from infinity to the point B. Okay, so let us consider a charge Q at point A and a point B at a distance small r from point A in free space. And now let us start moving a unit positive test charge Q naught from infinity towards point B. So let us consider that in the way when we are approaching to point B, M be a point at a distance x from charge Q. Therefore, force of repulsion on the test charge Q naught, which is equal to plus 1 coulomb by charge capital Q, will be given by this. We can calculate by using the Coulomb's law. So the Coulomb's law says that the force experienced by one charge due to another is equal to 1 upon 4 pi 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught charge Q1, which is given here as Q naught, and charge Q2, which is given here as capital Q upon square of the distance, and the square of uh, and the distance here is considered to be small x. So the expression will be f is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught into Q upon x square. Okay. So since we have assumed unit positive test charge, so the value of Q naught will be equal to 1. So the remaining part will be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon x square. So the work done by the external force in moving the test charge from small m to small from capital M from point M to point N through a small distance dx. So this will be given by dw is equal to vector fe dot vector dx, because you know the work done is equal to the force into the displacement. So the force experienced by the charge will be vector fe, and the distance covered will be given by the small element dx. So the since both of these are in the same direction, therefore the value of cos 0 will be equal to 1, and we will be left with minus fe dx, as the distance and the force are in opposite direction. So this, the angle between them will be 180 degree, and cos 180 degree is minus 1. So therefore, total work done in bringing the unit test charge from infinity to the point B, that is at x is equal to r, we can write uh, uh, taking the integration of our equation. So the W will be equal to infinity to r limits times minus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon x square dx. So here the charge q is constant, 4 pi and epsilon naught are constant. So we can take these out from the integration. And 1 upon x square can be written as x to the power minus 2 dx. So on solving for the integration, the value of x to the power minus 2 will be the power, if there is x to the power n, then in integration the power is increased by 1, and that factor is also uh, divided by the reduced power. So for x to the power minus 1, minus 2 will go to x to the power minus 2 plus 1, that is x to the power minus 1, and divided by minus 1, so the minus sign will be cancelled out, and x to the power minus 1 can be written as 1 upon x. And after this, we can uh, give the limit, that is infinity to r. So we will get the expression w is equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into 1 upon r. The second term will be 0, because 1 upon infinity will be equal to 0. So therefore, the potential at point B due to charge capital Q will be equal to, so if we denote this by capital B, then capital will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught capital Q times small r. So the variation of potential and electric field due to a point charge. So here you can see that this potential V is inversely proportional to the distance, or the first power of the distance. So if from the figure you can see here we have plotted the variation of potential and electric field with the distance. After this, if there are several number of charges, so the potential at a point due to a number of charges. So let us consider there are n number of charges, say they are q1, q2 up to qn, placed at distances r1, r2 and up to rn respectively from a point capital B. Then the potential at point B due to the charges will be the algebraic sum of all the potentials. So we can say that capital V will be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 and so on up to Vn. So 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught will be common in all the potentials, and the remaining factors will be the ratio of the charge to the distance from point B. So in the bracket, we will be left with the Q1 upon R1 plus Q2 upon R2 plus and so on Q3 upon R3. So in short form, we can write V will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, the summation over I is equal to 1 to n Qi upon Ri. Okay. So in this way, we can determine the total potential due to a system of point charges. If there are more than two charges, then we can apply this principle. Okay. So next come the potential difference. So potential difference between 2 points is defined as the amount of work done in taking a unit positive test from one point to another point. and its unit is volt. So the potential difference between 2 points is said to be of 1 volt if 1 joule of work is done in moving unit positive dash charge from one point to another. So if you want to calculate the potential at a point due to an electric dipole, so you know what is an electric dipole. So electric dipole is a combination of uh, two charges which are opposite in nature but of same magnitude. Okay. So the distance between 2 points, charges minus q1 plus q, which we have considered as capital A and capital B, is given by 2a. So let us consider an electric dipole consisting of plus q and minus q charges, which are kept at distance 2a apart. So the dipole moment of this system will be equal to vector p is equal to 2a into q. So now we consider that we have to determine the potential at point P due to this combination, or we can say the dipole. So let us consider that AP is equal to R1 and O, which is the center of the dipole. The distance is small r, and BP is R2, and the angle POB is theta. So where, as I told you, that O is the midpoint of the arm AB or the dipole. So we draw PN perpendicular to PO and AM perpendicular to PO. So let P be the point at which potential is to be determined. So from the figure, you can see the figure is given in the e-notes which are uploaded on the website. So the value of ON will be equal to OB cos theta, and OB is half of the length of the dipole, so OB is equal to A, so ON will be equal to A cos theta. Similarly, we can also calculate OM. So OM will be equal to A cos theta. We can say that it will be equal to A times cos theta. So therefore, potential at point P due to dipole B will be equal to V1 plus V2. And the value of V1, we can say that it will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R2 minus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R1. So this will depend on the assumption that which charge we are taking as positive and which one as negative. So here we have considered point A as a positive charge and point B as negative charge. So we are having this type of combination. So Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught is common in both the terms. So the remaining part will be 1 upon R2 minus 1 upon R1 inside a small bracket. So now we know that we have considered R1 is equal to AP is equal to MP, which is given by PO plus OM, or you can say R plus A cos theta. And the value of R2 will be given as BP, which is equal to PN, or we can say PO minus OM, or R minus A cos theta apparently. So if we can replace these values in the above expression, so the potential V will be equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught 1 upon R minus A cos theta minus 1 upon R plus A cos theta. So on solving this expression, we will be having V is equal to Q into 2A cos theta upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and R minus A cos theta and R plus A cos theta will be R square minus A square cos square theta. So the potential V will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and the value of dipole moment P becomes equal to 2AQ. So we can replace the value of Q2 into 2A by P, which is the dipole moment P cos theta upon R square minus A square cos square theta. So for a dipole, point dipole, that is when R is much greater than A, we can neglect uh, the second term in the denominator. So we will be left with V is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into P cos theta upon R square. So this is the formula for dipole for the potential due to a dipole uh, at a distance R, which is at point P. So I hope this is sufficient for this lecture. In the next video, we will be discussing about relation between electrostatic field and potential difference and the electric potential energy. Thank you very much.